came home from work to find an ornately wrapped gift box. Noticing a tag on the top, I peered at it to only have the sender read as, "A friend." I was taken aback by its weight. The gift box was fairly large, but the contents couldn't have weighed more than a pound. Puzzled at this point, I took the box inside to open. Fetching a pair of scissors, I removed the bow and pulled apart the ribbon, then setting aside the lid. A stench overtook me, and I immediately vomited upon viewing the contents. It was a human face, or at least what was left of it. The eyes had been removed, its nose cut off, and the lips and cheeks split open. Suppressing the urge to vomit again, I studied the contents more closely. Nausea gave way to tears. It was my girlfriend. Still overtaken by intense grief and despair, my attention turned to a piece of paper riddled in blood. It read, "When I asked her to be friends, she turned down my offer. Since I gave you a gift, hopefully you won't refuse my offer when I come visit tonight." What it means to be good. I have always thought of myself as a good person. Keeping people safe is an expectation I pride myself upon. I also know plenty of others out there do wrong, and so few share my sentiments. It's revolting how despicably out of tune these others are to the world and its concerns. As I mentioned, it's my duty to ensure people's safety, and I have my ways of ensuring this. That's why you're here now. Don't think I can't see the fear in your eyes. It's a common sight that I've grown accustomed to. But it won't invoke pity for me. No use trying to break free from those restraints either, friend. As a matter of fact, you won't even be able to move, much less speak, after I've snipped out your tongue and hacked off your arms and legs. What? You're whimpering because I cut off your blood flow? It's quite alright. You can die happy knowing I've snuffed out the world's evil, even by this small bit. Hush. Don't try to scream. It's so difficult being good after all. I've always enjoyed giving things out on Halloween. I relish in my generosity even further after reading November 3rd's obituaries. I regret leaving the lights on. I've been using them to keep me company at night during my parents' 2-week vacation. Since then, the shadows beneath the crack of my door have never stopped moving. An artist's life. The artist gazed lovingly at his work upon the canvas. It may have not been a masterpiece, but to the artist, it was worthy of such a title in its own merit. Hues of red, yellow, and brown lent in portraying the most sweeping of autumn landscapes. He regarded his work fondly for a few moments longer before peering down at his palette. It lay strewn across the floor, having long since scattered its paints. Smiling, the artist fell to one knee and cradled his palette in both arms. The artist's teeth then sank into his chest, stringy bits of muscle tissue falling from either side of his now vermilion-stained lips. Despite being a master of his unconventional works, he was truly the epitome of a starving artist. High tide. I regret ever having told my opinion. My neighbors, they caught wind of me confiding in my acquaintances how I felt the king wasn't doing right by the colonies. The authorities came to my door and accused me of treason. Despite my protests, I was restrained and blindfolded. Now I'm chained naked upon these god-forsaken rocks. The cold November air cuts into my breast, with seawater following suit. The lighthouse above me reveals the rising tide. My feet, they've long since gotten numb. My arms will soon join them. The water then starts to rise to my neck. Now it's up to my mouth. A word to advice to my fellow rebels. Stay quiet about your views. No one's going to hear you scream as your lungs burst with the tide. Ever since my wife left me, I've been lonely. I've tried meeting new people. I've tried moving on with my life. But eventually, I realized that I'm a one-woman man. So, I went and I dug her up from her grave. Even with the smell and rot, I really couldn't be happier knowing that I don't have to sleep alone again. Company often comes unannounced. Mommy, there's people coming out of the house across the street, and they're walking over to ours, my son called to me from the living room. We lived on a fairly populated road, so this wasn't anything unusual. We also had started renting the place, so perhaps they wanted to meet their new neighbors. Which house, honey? I questioned, still distracted with putting dinner together. The white one. It's all boarded up. We went to a hotel that night. The place was formerly Purcell Funeral Home and had shut its doors a decade ago. They wait. Ever since the madness spread, the man hid in his closet. No other alternative existed. This too shall pass, was his mantra as unfortunate victims still out on the street screamed while being torn apart. The man's barricades didn't hold either. The mad ones broke through with ease, rushing into his humble abode and into the bedroom. But they didn't tear the closet door down. They didn't yank him out to meet the same fate as their previous victims. No, they instead eagerly waited with the widest grins. The man would eventually give in after a time, and the mad ones knew this. Nothing crossed their minds save the satisfaction of despair, compelling the man to meet their embrace.